Hey guys, welcome back. We have a new week of astrology to get into. This is going to most likely be a very emotionally charged week. We have a grand trine in water signs that is taking place this week that is featuring Jupiter in Cancer, Saturn and Neptune in the sign of Pisces, and an exact Mars black moon conjunction that is taking place in the sign of Scorpio. This is a lot of emotional energy that is driving, I do think, a lot of what's going to be taking place this week. Now, this is a very visionary slash like master builder type of energy. Work towards your goals this week. This is a week of, what we may consider to be some blessed actions. Calculated risks are likely to turn into rewards this week. And there is truly an ability to move things forward. Gains can definitely be arrived at if we are using the energy properly this week. Now, whatever it is that your emotional focus is this week is likely to be what grows. So if you are focused on healing, releasing, moving forward with something, bringing some type of dream or vision into reality, you're going to find that you feel very cosmically supported in that effort this week, and you're probably going to make some gains along those lines. However, if you are focused on feeling out of control, an emotional spiral, reacting or responding to some type of impassioned emotions or toxic emotional attachments that seem to be like the center of your focus this week, that is also what is going to likely grow and expand. It is a heaven or a hellscape of our own making this week, you guys. And we've got a lot to talk about. Jupiter exactly trine Mars, who is exactly conjoined the black moon, while Jupiter is also exactly squaring Chiron, and the moon in Capricorn is going to be forming another kite aspect, this time with our grand water trine that we have present this week. So lots of energy going on out there. We've got lots and lots to talk about. Let's get into it, you guys. Let's take a deeper and more close look at all we've got coming together to get our week started this week and how things are likely to be flowing and unfolding for us as we move through our week. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Monday, October 27th, 2025. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this report, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. We're going to do that at the end. We've got a lot of astrology to get into. We have big, heavy hitting astrology going on this month. October is definitely, I don't think, going to disappoint in terms of the energetic impact that things are having or have had. We have another week of just tremendous emotional energy that is present. If you guys followed the astrology or my videos last week, I was talking about just this major amount of planets in water signs right now. We had 8 planets in water signs plus the North Node last week. We have 7 planets in water signs to get the week started plus the North Node this week. That is a lot of water energy. That is, of course, translating into a lot of emotional energy. And we also have no earth sign energy right now. So if there's ever been a time where like feelings are more real or more viable or more relevant than like facts, this would be that. And a lot of people are definitely going to be acting based on these powerful emotional urges, okay, as opposed to kind of like maybe thinking things through rationally or logically and then deciding to act. And this is especially as we get the week started. Actually, by the time that we get to Wednesday, there is going to be a vibe shift that goes on. Mercury will leave Scorpio, enter Sagittarius, of course, form an exact opposition to Uranus. So things are likely to change kind of radically as we get to the midpoint of the week. That will also be the point in time when Mars breaks the conjunction to the black moon and the trine to Jupiter, which we're going to be talking about in our report for today. But Monday and Tuesday this week for sure, and especially Tuesday, like this is powerful, heavy hitting astrology coming through here. And it is about like turning the page, like coming to the end, like things that have been lingering or unhealed within us, or like these hang-ups or these hold-ups or these fears that have been keeping us contained or limiting us, or like keeping us like held back for one reason or another in like a prison of our own self-doubts or limiting beliefs, something like that. I feel like those walls are coming down, those boundaries or borders are we're breaking through, and I do think there is some significant deep-seated emotional release that is ultimately being indicated here. When I'm talking about emotional release, I'm talking about like releasing the actual foundational beliefs or the subconscious programming that has kept us ingrained in certain patterns of thought and action behavior as a driver of that. Now, I also want to say, to get our report started today, it is very important how you are focusing your mind in the context of your emotions in this energy. We have a grand trine in water with Jupiter as one of the legs of that trine, Saturn retrograde as another one of the legs, and a conjunction between Mars and the black moon in the sign of Scorpio as the third leg of that trine. However our emotions are focused and oriented, like that is going to expand, okay? So for better or for worse. On one hand, dude, like master builder, visionary, like reaching into the dreams and pulling them out and placing them in the reality. Like this is a huge, beautiful manifestation window for translating our dreams and our visions into like physical reality, or at least beginning a building process that is going to ultimately lead in that direction. Now, on the other side of things, this could be just totally spiraling into the darkness and losing control and being utterly consumed by fears or toxic attachments or limiting beliefs, okay? So it's very important, if these like fears and if these negative emotions are arising within us, to interact with that energy through, a slight detachment and give it an opportunity to be released and not define ourselves by it. The more positively oriented you can keep your emotions in this energy, the better the results are going to be. It really is like a heaven or a hell kind of like of our own making this week, depending on whether we are in control of our emotions or whether our emotions are overpowering and in control of us. So, a word of advice and a word of caution, both at the same time. Fantastic energy, best week ever. If we're focused on the right things and in the right way, things could get real ugly and feel kind of just like desperate and unraveled and all over the place. Also, if we are allowing the more negative tides here to take us down. So, emotionally driven either way though, and it is about a powerful purge point, and this is about karmic release, okay? So again, whether we want to allow ourselves to be emotionally inundated with the hope and the faith of transcendence, or emotionally inundated by the despair and the suffering, those are the ways that it may go. There is definitely, with all this water energy, a natural flow to things this week. Things are playing out and unfolding, I think, probably in, some ways that could be happening quickly, or that could just be kind of like washing over us or washing through. And of course, it is going to be better to go with the flow of situations and feelings and ongoings and events this week, rather than working against them, trying to like swim upstream or flow against the current here. It's not going to give best results when we've got a grand trine in water signs. Trines facilitate things. This is a cosmic facilitation. We're talking about Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. This is expansion. This is growth. This is wisdom. This is truth. In a trine to Saturn retrograde, Saturn is the structure and the form and control. But Saturn retrograding is also like the breakdown or the internalization of these things. And then Mars and the black moon in the sign of Scorpio there, That is like conquering or being conquered by our own fears and by our own shadows. With Jupiter, again, and Saturn, this is like a huge opportunity to release ourselves from the grip of fears and toxic emotions or toxic emotional attachments that have controlled us in the past, or in like some pretty big ways, losing control of our emotions and our rationality and like spiraling and giving into the fears. Okay, we're talking about the black moon. That's our shadow side issues: fears, worries, insecurities, and doubts. Mars, of course, is the warrior, you guys. Like, we can be the knight in shining armor, out to save the day in our own story once and for all, breaking these cycles, experiencing like a whole new version of reality on the other side of that. Or we could find ourselves, again, like being at the whim or feeling overpowered by some of these perhaps potent negative tendencies or toxic emotions or fear or trauma-based subconscious programming that is also quite highlighted and relevant this week. But trusting your gut, listening to your intuition, having faith, and being willing to let go of things, being willing to kind of like ride the wave of momentum that seems to be coming through or taking place this week is a better way to interact with a grand trine in water signs, especially featuring these specific planets. I do think that the energy right now generally represents a collective emotional detox that is taking place throughout this period of time. This is purging these subconscious attachments and the programming that does not serve our growth right now. That is one reason why those shadows and why that like those like deep emotions and stuff and the fears could be so relevant. Like, they are definitely rising to the surface here, but it's like, are they rising to the surface in a way that gives them power over us, or are they rising to the surface in a way that allows us to gain an awareness of their existence and therefore take that power back and utilize it to integrate or to banish or to defeat or to overcome or to release that which once held power over us? Shifting power dynamics, especially in terms of the way that we are relating to our own mind, our own emotions, and our own beliefs, could definitely be represented with this. There could be a lot of these dark, toxic emotions, as I said, rising, emerging from the depths of our psyche here, very long repressed as well. Like, there could be a lot of like childhood wounds, childhood issues, like old things kind of coming up or coming back around, maybe that we were unaware of, that we were even harboring within. And they may also function as some type of a wake-up call, honestly. But I do think that the way that we are feeling and thinking and acting perhaps as well is likely to radically shift somehow as we move through the week this week. And then that's also going to, I think, change kind of like just the nature of the trajectory of things generally going forward. A lot of people are going to be undergoing some very profound, I think, emotional changes this week that lead to some type of growth, expansion, or alter or shift the course of the way that things are unfolding from this point going forward. Now, there could be a loss of control that does come with this. There could be some expanded sense of emotional maturity or emotional regulation or emotional self-control that we notice as well. Again, those oppositional octaves of the energy could both simultaneously be present somehow. And there could also be a strong emotional urge or emotional pull to both escape reality and merge with the dream world, merge with the spirit world, and also, or perhaps on the other side of that, to bring a vision or bring a dream into the physical, material, manifest reality, both escaping from reality, merging with the non-linear, non-material, and also extracting the vision or the dream from the invisible planes of reality, planting them in the physical planes where they can then, begin to come into physical formation and fruition, both indicated, both like utilizations or ways that this energy could be working itself out there. Super spiritual energy. Definitely keep that in mind. People may feel very motivated by their faith or some inner knowing or spiritual experience that is driving action throughout the course of the week somehow. People could feel very spiritually inspired to do things, to say things, to take some type of action or make something happen. I also think this is going to be a week where a lot of people are overcoming and conquering fears in a way that builds emotional strength, wisdom, endurance, and resiliency. Grand trine and water signs, Mars and the black moon right there. That is like slaying the demons, okay? That is the warrior and the shadow. And with Jupiter there supporting that exactly, and also Saturn retrograding again, an ability to conquer the fears that have limited our growth or expansion in the past, super supported. And then also when we add to it the fact that Jupiter, aside from being exactly trine Mars and the black moon, and their conjunction is also exactly square Chiron. We've got Mars and the black moon at 24 degrees of Scorpio Monday and Tuesday. We've got Jupiter at 24 Cancer, and we've got Chiron at 24 degrees of Aries, which is ruled by Mars, who is with the black moon. Chiron is the wounded healer, teacher, master archetype. In this square to Jupiter, this is a release from suffering through wisdom gained or through some type of sacrifice that we are at a point of being willing to undertake or to undergo. And through that, it's like we are, or it's like we're able to like purge or release something or learn something that kind of changes the entire game and helps us to overcome or to conquer some of these things within us that have had power over us in the past. This is us taking power back from the unknown areas of ourselves that in the past have outweighed like our conscious reasoning or our conscious actions for one reason or another. This is a very powerful week to work on something as well, as I've said, to build something or to take steps to bring some type of vision or dream into life or reality. Extremely potent manifestation window again, and we should use it for that. Now, as I've also been saying in my like past few videos, this Jupiter Saturn trine that is going to be an ongoing part of our reality for the next several months now, because actually Jupiter is going to retrograde in November. So these planets are going to be in a lingering trine together for a while. This is about long-term rewards, like our efforts paying off, like things going well and being successful, but it's not instant gratification. It's not overnight success. It's about hard work and our efforts and the long-term stability and ability to like endure successfully that results from them. As I think I said in one of my last videos, like this is legacy building energy. This is not like one and done, or just like what's it called when you only have success for like like the minute of success, or your time to shine. I can't remember. There's like a little catchphrase that I'll think of as soon as I get done with this video and playing it back, but I won't have an opportunity to edit in. So you guys know what I'm talking about, but this is not about like, you know, things immediately coming into fruition. This is about making a plan, working towards that, and ultimately our efforts paying off. This is a great energy also for processing old emotional baggage and hangups. Things may suddenly out of nowhere make sense to you in ways that they never have before. Feelings perhaps finally ready to be released and let go of. Old emotional wounds, painful feelings, toxic emotional attachments, and the natural ending of them could be an occurrence that goes on this week. Again, there's a natural flow that is taking place here. This is not having to force things. This is things just kind of like falling into place, things happening, like the wave washing through and, you know, riding that wave and feeling like ready to do whatever needs to be done in the context of like whatever that energy is carrying into our lives, and also simultaneously carrying out of our lives as well. Emotional release, emotional maturity are definitely highlights here. And I would expect, of course, as I continue to say, this to be another just generally very emotional week as people do work to process, integrate, and let go of some of these deeper issues that are rising to the surface here. Now, we do have a Mars Black Moon exact conjunction. Mars is our actions, Mars is our behavior. This is what we're doing with the Black Moon. There could be one of the expressions of this energy could be, again, people involved maybe in some very like shady business, deceit, lies, corruption, like abuse of our energy and stuff like that. There could be some very distorted ego energy that is surfacing here. But if that's the case, you guys, we're gonna know what we're dealing with. It is very when we've got a Mars Black Moon conjunction going on that is exactly trined by Jupiter and Saturn. That may be the case. Like, people may be acting shady, but it's not going to they're not going to get away with it. And I find it to be, the symbolism is expressing it and describing it so thoroughly here. We actually have Venus on Tuesday at 19 degrees of Libra. That Sabian symbol is a gang of robbers in hiding. But we have the conjunction between Mars and the Black Moon happening at 25 degrees of Scorpio. That Sabian symbol is an X-ray photograph, helps with the diagnosis. So, I mean, yes, the inclination here might be to try to, get away with something or act deviously, but there is something here about full and utter transparency that seems to be trumping the ability for anything to be actually thoroughly gotten away with. This is also another week where I think I said this a little while ago, what is logical and rational is probably definitely taking a back seat, playing a secondary role to any inspired vision or powerful emotional urge or passionate or creative flow that is coming through here. This is not a week, okay, where you're really going to be able, I think, to reason with people in a way that has an impact. Rather, if you can connect to them emotionally, persuasion is much more potent here than reasoning, okay? If you need to factor that in somehow throughout the week. 7 water sign planets plus the North Node, 0 earth sign planets, Saturn, which is the grounding force, retrograde in Pisces, conjunct Neptune. The feelings dominate over the facts, and this is stretching and expanding our perception of the limits of what is possible. Whatever the emotional focus is in this energy is going to be what grows and expands both within us and in our external reality. There is for sure this X-ray vision that comes with this as well. As I said, the literal degree placement where the conjunction between Mars and the Black Moon is taking place is an X-ray photograph, helps with the diagnosis. So you can expect to uncover the true source or root of the problem with things this week. It could also be in some shocking ways. Again, after we have the intensity of this energy occur specifically on Tuesday, but really Monday and Tuesday of this week, Mercury will leave Scorpio, enter Sagittarius, and immediately oppose Uranus, which could be a wake-up call or just some type of shocking change in the way that we're thinking about things, or some type of crazy information or something that comes through. But really everything, I think, is pushing Monday and Tuesday specifically towards, but really all week, facilitating some process of purge or release of toxic emotions, or in terms of some type of gain that comes through in regards to emotional wisdom or emotional maturity. The illusions that have kept us in certain emotional holding patterns based in faulty beliefs or belief systems are breaking down. The consequence is going to be an expansion of what is now possible for us. And, this is definitely going to be a time to dream big, to make plans, to begin working towards bringing that dream or bringing that vision or bringing those plans into life, into reality, into fruition. Do not let the past dictate what is possible for you in the future in this energy. That is a lesson that is encoded in all of this as well, I think. We do need to accept the past with forgiveness and gratitude while also releasing its limiting hold over the potentials of the future. And we also need to recognize, you guys, the potency of the spiritual nature of our reality this week and the true power that is held in the realms of what is invisible to the eye and what remains unseen. The spirit world is a real thing, and just because we don't see it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And this week, I don't think we're going to need to see it to truly understand the power that it holds and that it does in fact exist. We have 0 earth signs, all water signs. Seeing is not believing, rather believing, I think, leads to seeing in this energy. The power of the unseen holds more weight than what is physically apparent at this time. And Jupiter right now, let's not forget, in the exact trine to Mars and the black moon at that X-ray photograph degree, is at 25 degrees of Cancer. That Sabian symbol is a leader of men wrapped in an invisible mantle or in an invisible cloak of power. Again, just because we can't see it doesn't mean that it is not the true source of power in the context of things that are playing out this week, or doesn't mean that it cannot be a true source from which we extract power to step into a greater sense of personal power in the true 3D physical reality. Calculated strategic risk taking is supported here. This is great energy for implementing plans, implementing strategies, and people are going to be taking action, I think, to make things happen this week, to do what's sort of been on the back burner. A lot of people are probably going to be catching up on things that they've been procrastinating on as well. And I do think that, beginning a process or gaining momentum in the context of some process of actively creating, building, or working towards goals over this next few months, no longer waiting, no longer putting things off, coming to a point this week where they're ready to step into something new, probably going to see it. There is a motivation to do what is undone here, to see what is unseen, to know what is unknown. So anything, along those lines or any expression of that could be relevant. And again, I do think that we could see some life-changing results come from this, especially as we move into the energy of next year, 2026, and we have Neptune and Saturn both re-enter the sign of Aries. So to me, okay, that is the general state of things this week, or at least as we get the week started. The vibes that you may find yourself encountering, or kind of just the greater collective energetic push as I'm perceiving it. Now, more specifically on Monday, we do open the week with that grand trine in water signs, right? Very, very tight, very, very highlighted. Jupiter is exactly trine Mars, as I have already referenced, while Mars is exactly conjunct the black moon. And this is even amplified further on Tuesday, because we're going to have the moon moving through the sign of Capricorn, coming into the exact opposition with Jupiter in Cancer, exactly sextiling the Scorpio planets and the Pisces planets. The moon in Capricorn is going to be setting up another kite aspect with our grand water trine on Tuesday. So very, very potent activation of this energy, activation point in this regard on Tuesday. We will get there in a minute, but Mars trining Jupiter, or Jupiter trining Mars, let's talk specifically just about this aspect in isolation for a minute. If we take the black moon and the grand trine out of it, okay, Mars trining Jupiter, just so you guys know, is generally, classically, one of the best transits for any type of activity. Of course, Mars is our energy and what we're doing, and Jupiter is good luck and good fortune and blessings and things generally going well. So it can be a time of quote unquote like blessed actions. However, it's not necessarily that we're just like, super lucky. It's more that we have the perspective or like the inner knowing or the intuition to act in ways that lead to our own success, which we may interpret as having been like really lucky or really fortunate, but it's really just more about being oriented to like make these wise choices or take these wise actions or do things in a way that is going to be successful or beneficial somehow. Energy levels are likely to be very high. Of course, Jupiter expands things. Mars is our energy levels. Great for physical activity, great for any type of athletic stuff that you might have going on. This is a day or a week to hit the gym and, really put your all into it. It can, as I said, feel like we've got somebody on our side kind of supporting us and, making things go well or go right this week, but it's less about luck and more about faith, confidence, and foresight that are beneficial when we've got this type of thing going on. This is, of course, going to inherently be very growth oriented, therefore favorable time, you guys, to advance your interests, whatever they may be, work towards your goals. And when we add that Saturn energy there as well, laying new foundations, building something, forming something, creating something, conceiving of something in the sign of Pisces, like bringing that vision to life and taking tangible physical steps towards the process of making that happen somehow. Use this week to grow in knowledge and consciousness. One kind of hang up of this energy might be, don't let it make you think that you and you alone are on top of the world. We don't want to be know-it-alls in this energy, which can be kind of like one of the more negative tendencies of a setup such as this. Any type of self-aggrandizement is going to be not the best place to be and is going to actually like work against our ability to make the most out of this energy. So we want to stay out of the ego. I mean, Mars is the ego. Jupiter is like the truth, wisdom, expansion, like thinking that we know it all, thinking that we alone have the answers and are like the only ones capable or the only one that can do anything right. It can go that way as well, which could also be associated with some of the spiraling or some of the meltdown or like this kind of like more manic vibe that can go on with this. Also, also be careful judging or criticizing other people's beliefs in this energy. That could also unleash some type of wrath. Jupiter is our beliefs. Mars is the ego. When we've got a trine going on like this between them, people could feel very caught up or very attached in terms of their ego to their beliefs. So if they feel like their beliefs are being criticized or slighted or mocked or anything like that, you may see someone's wrath and fury with all of their demons running wild within them with the black moon there as well. So we don't want to allow ourselves to fall into those tendencies or interface with the energies that way unless we need to for some reason. There could also be some big deals or projects being initiated in energy like this. Taking chances can pay off here. I think I said that earlier, but especially if they are well strategized, thought through, or intuitively aligned. Gut instincts, you guys, like the internal compass, intuition. This is a very, very powerful guiding force this week. Do not turn a blind eye to your intuition here. If you have some type of gut instinct about something, it is best to follow it in the energy this week because, again, emotional urges, intuitive knowing, gut instinct, over, or if we're doing the greater than or less than symbol, this is much greater than the rational intellect. You could think that the answer or the information or something like that, but honestly the gut feeling is likely to be more accurate here. We have more energy than we usually do this week. Again, use it to make things happen, to get things done. Tuesday, there could be a sense of truly or finally overcoming or conquering something deep within. We really can create sort of like a positive feedback loop of self-empowerment in this energy by proving to ourselves that, we can do it, and then receiving that internal validation, and that actually strengthening us more and proving to us more that we actually can do it. So if you're honing in on the positive emotions, they're going to grow and expand. Huge gains can be made. Or, if you are really struggling and spiraling, that could also be kind of overwhelming and carry you somewhere that you don't necessarily want to be this week as well. So pay attention to where your focus is and do your best to positively orient yourself as much as you possibly can. Tuesday, let's talk specifically about this energy now. Very unique, very rare, very powerful energetic blueprint. The moon in Capricorn, as I mentioned, will oppose Jupiter, sextile Mars and the Black Moon, sextile Saturn and Neptune. Moon in Capricorn, making that kite aspect with our grand water trine that is present right now, while we have the exact Mars Black Moon conjunction, and Jupiter is also exactly square Chiron. This is all happening at 24 degrees and something minutes of the signs. I think I mentioned earlier, Jupiter at 24 degrees of Cancer, Mars and the Black Moon at 24 Scorpio, Chiron at 24 Aries. It's interesting also because 24, that turns into a 6, and we have the sun on Tuesday is at 6 degrees of the sign of Scorpio as well. The sun is another one of our planets in Scorpio water sign right now. 6 degrees of Scorpio, the Sabian symbol of that degree is a gold rush, tears men away from their native soil. And then 24 degrees, which actually is the 25th degree in terms of the symbolic placement of all of these signs. Now, whenever we read the Sabian symbols, you guys, we read the wave of energy that is coming in, that is beginning to manifest, that is growing stronger. We don't read the wave that is waning out and that is dissipating. So when we're looking at the symbolic degree placement for all of these 24 degree planets, we're going to be reading the 25th Sabian symbol for that sign. So 24 degrees of Scorpio, 24 degrees of Cancer, 24 degrees of Aries for our activation points are going to turn into the Sabian symbols for 25 degrees of those signs. 25 Scorpio, I've already read to you guys, is the X-ray photograph, helps with the diagnosis. 25 Cancer, I've also already read, that one is a leader of men wrapped in an invisible mantle of power. And then 25 degrees of Aries, where Chiron is an exact aspect as well, is a double promise, reveals its inner and outer meaning. So, and even the gold rush degree, like every single one of these symbols that is highlighted is all about the power in or of, the hidden or the unseen, made known, revelations, seeing something for what it really is, okay? And the value that holds, the power that indicates. And then also Venus at the gang of robbers in hiding. I don't think that a whole lot of secrecy is going to be able to be maintained throughout the course of the week for one reason or another. Now, figuring out how to move things forward, how to advance things, how to dislodge or unclog something could definitely come with the energy on Tuesday. And there is a wisdom or a revelation that is unlocking doors this week. And on the other side of those doors, I do think is a new sense or perception of freedom, liberation, possibility, or the potential to grow and expand unencumbered by or no longer being limited by something from the past somehow. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Now, Capricorn, the moon in Capricorn, also ruled by Saturn. Saturn retrograding with Neptune in the sign of Pisces, trining Jupiter, trining trining Mars, trining the black moon. An emotional structuring or unstructuring of things in a way that does release the floodgates or reorients things or whatever it is along their deepest and most powerful or potent core levels. This is like getting to the bottom of things, seeing the x-ray, figuring out what is at the root or what is at the source of whatever the issue is, and then having the wisdom or knowing the truth or that truth setting you free, or through that awareness being able to take power back in a way that helps to overcome or release the issue. We're just, we keep going around and around in these same themes, but it is a very potent, powerful message that is coming through here. And the trine with Jupiter, Jupiter squaring Chiron, the past no longer has to define us, okay? This is where that life-changing energy is coming in as well. Like the Jupiter Chiron square while this grand trine is going on, and on Tuesday while the kite aspect with the moon in Capricorn is going on as well. That is the cycle-breaking energy. That is being released from suffering. That is like conquering the fear or slaying the demon or the dragon that has like kept us chained to some past and more limited version of whatever universe, God, great spirit, higher power, your higher self is mandating that you evolve or step into at this point in time. Soul alchemy, integrating or transmuting shadows, making the unknown known, graduating, overcoming, transcending, release, breaking cycles. This is energetically configuring us to be able to finally turn the page on something. And it's funny because, as I've mentioned, like right after this activation on Wednesday, Mercury leaves Scorpio, enters Sagittarius, comes into an exact alignment with Uranus. News or ideas or information or sudden changes of plans or, something unusual, unexpected movement, unexpected momentum, unexpected choices that alter the course of things, that radically shift or change the way that we are thinking about something. Wednesday is probably an unusual day. Whatever is building up or whatever is taking place Tuesday and Wednesday is likely to lead to some type of just shifting something on Wednesday. The way that we're thinking about things, the momentum or the movement that is taking place. You might just find yourself doing something out of the ordinary on Wednesday as a result of whatever has transpired Monday and maybe specifically Tuesday of this week. So, powerhouse of a day on Tuesday, you guys. Use it productively. Very emotional week. I would anticipate that. People being very attached to their emotions and their beliefs. I wouldn't go out like looking for or picking a fight. People could have some very harsh, uncontrolled emotional responses and actions to things. Super high energy levels this week. Use it to be productive. Great for any type of work, great for any type of activity. Strategic risks do equal rewards. Successfully defeating demons from the past that have in some way kept us like locked out of whatever destiny we are meant to step into at this specific point in time. We are, I think I said earlier, also our own knight in shining armor this week, conquering fears, taming the beast within. This is a week to gain mastery over the self. You are the true hero in your own hero's journey this week, and if we make it about that, right? If we allow ourselves to stay focused on that and to have faith in our ability to do it, again, it is going to create this positive feedback loop that could help you really make some tremendous gains. And also, gains are to be made through the wise and strategic implementation of energy and action this week, especially also if it is something that is causing us to like face a fear or like conquer a limitation that, you know, has held us back in some regard in the past. So that's what I have to say today, you guys, about my perception of the nature of this grand water trine and the planets that are involved, and, you know, what we do have going on energetically to get our week started this week. I want to talk about the tarot cards for a few minutes that we had coming out. We have the Six of Pentacles, we have the Three of Cups, and then we have the Five of Swords here as well. The Six of Pentacles has to do with reciprocity, the equal give and take, what is fair and what is unfair, rebalancing things. The Three of Cups, this is about joy and reunion and having fun and celebration and coming together. Reunions, and then, or unions, and then the Five of Swords has to do with stealing power, or the thoughts, the negative thoughts that are self-sabotaging or working against us. Or it could also be like gossip and slander and other people's like negative thoughts, words, opinions, and judgments, and how that impacts or steals power from like our own sense of purpose and truth. On the back of the deck, we have the Five of Wands, which is about ways or areas or places that we feel defensive, what we feel like we need to be guarding against or fighting off, pushing back. So with the Six of Pentacles here, the Three of Cups, the Five of Swords, I feel like this is talking about what do we need to rebalance within us in order to not feel like we are either having to surrender our power to something outside of ourselves, or like we are internally working against ourselves. This could be like a self-sabotaging energy as well. Like what thoughts have been keeping us from joy or from being able to connect and relate and share with others, or that have been maybe causing us to feel like detached or separate, or like things are unfair or unbalanced for one reason or another. This could also, though, honestly be about like in the context of friends groups or in the context of social situations, social dynamics, interpersonal dynamics, feeling as though like things are unbalanced or out of alignment because there's like some hidden source of like mental energy that is distorting the balance or stealing power somehow. Like this could literally be about like gossip or slander, or like people talking bad or spreading rumors or spreading falsehoods in a way that is like disrupting the peace of the group somehow, that is causing people to like feel like they need to be on the defense or defending themselves or have their walls up for one reason or another. But I feel like the way that this particular spread has laid itself out, it's like whatever the source of that is, or this could even be like negative thought patterns going on within our own mind, like self-sabotaging thoughts and stuff that prevent us from being able to connect or relate with others, or to feel like we can experience a sense of joy or fulfillment, or like things are just out of balance in social dynamics or something like that. It seems like we're able to diagnose the problem. Like this is what's coming out on top. Like we're having the opportunity to see where that power, or where the stolen power is coming from. Like what is the source of whatever is creating the imbalance, or whatever is creating the lack of fairness, lack of reciprocity, whatever is like disrupting the balance, or whatever like underhanded or shady or malicious or deceptive, this, that, or the other that's going on in social circles or friends groups, or network dynamics, even, and stuff like that. I just feel like this is indicating like that being made known, like it being clear, like it coming out on top, or being like plain as day, like, oh, we can see it, like that's what it is right there. There seems to be, I just feel like this is indicating an ability to see the source of the problem, whatever has been keeping things out of balance, or making things feel, you know, unfair, or like there's like a hidden threat or something like that lurking within numbers, or within groups, or within siblings even, or like family dynamics or counterparts, or there just seems to be some type of an awareness that we are gaining in the context of like who's holding the power, who's stealing the power, how they're doing it, how they've gotten away with it, what the plan was, what the strategy was, and also this like willingness to stand our ground, to defend or fight back against, whatever attacks we might feel like are being lodged against us. And I do think, Mars and the Black Moon together, again, like people standing up for themselves, like having the power with Jupiter there, like to defend whatever they feel like they need to pursue or whatever the passion is. Like, this is not people backing down. This is a stubborn, assertive, aggressive energy in the context of like whatever evil we feel like we're coming up against. Like I've been saying throughout the report, there's something here about conquering fears, slaying demons, like gaining victory maybe over the fears or negative mental attitudes even that have held us back in the past. If I keep looking at the cards on the back of the deck, we also have the Four of Pentacles, the Ten of Swords in reverse, we've got the Six of Wands. This is also talking about victory over the fears that we've been holding on to. There is an ability to maintain a perspective that is void of some of the like mental issues that have controlled us in the past. There is a victory over circumstance to be gained here. People are not going to be afraid to stand up for and to defend their truth, and we're going to be able to see what is at the root, or who is at the root or the core, I think, of some of these issues that maybe have been just like disrupting the group cohesion or our own internal sense of peace or joy or fulfillment, or whatever it is somehow. So that's how I'm reading the tarot cards today in terms of the way astrology is coming together as well. I'm going to get one more card now, you guys. I'm going to get a synchronicity card. This is going to be a piece of guidance or advice from God, Great Spirit, Universe. However you connect to that higher power out there, this is where this message is coming from. So let's see what we need to know, or what we need to take with us or be aware of as we do get our week started this week. Again, a very intense emotional energy, but also super purposeful. And we got two cards for today. They say, it's your attitude and seek inner strength. Both very aligned to the astrology, the way I'm perceiving it. Our first card says, it's your attitude. Straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Matthew 7:14. The only way you can alter outer conditions is to change your mental attitude. For harmony, peace, prosperity, and health to enter your life, you must fill your subconscious with the understanding that all harmony, peace, abundance, and security is yours right now. I do think also that is really what that tarot message was saying. Six of Pentacles, Three of Cups, Five of Swords. This is the outer conditions that perhaps are negatively impacting the internal peace, balance, joy, harmony. This is specifically saying for harmony, peace, prosperity, and health to enter your life, you must fill your subconscious with the understanding that all of that is yours right now, and that will rebalance things on that internal level. I feel like that is going right along with the tarot message and the astrology also. Our other card, it says, seek inner strength. Give me this water that I thirst not. John 4:15. You are thirsting for values in your life. You are not using the wisdom and guidance of your subconscious when you don't think right, feel right, or act right. The mass mind impinges on your mind, and the result is confusion and failure. All wisdom, knowledge, and power are within your mind. You know the difference. You know the values you need to uphold. Turn away from the mass mind and go within to what you know is right. And again, that is the message right now. It is this old programming that is breaking down. The old mass mind is fracturing, and we have this new, authentic, emergence of kind of like our true selves. I feel like that is coming more and more online right now, that we're gaining a greater and greater awareness of, and that is what is propelling us forward in this new direction if we can only surrender to the process as it is underway this week with this grand water trine coming through. So that's what I have to say, you guys. Seek inner strength. It's your attitude. And all of the messages from the stars and the cards that came through today as well. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel as well. I would really, really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Drop me a comment. Let me know what's going on with you out there. If you are having experiences that line up with or reflect what I'm talking about in this video, in any of my videos, drop me a comment. Tell me about it. Let me know. That's very valuable information to me. I truly value your presence. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I take pictures of it and I post them in a Facebook group, which is linked in my description box below. So if you want to see that board, go to the description, click the Facebook link. It'll take you to the Facebook group where I do post these boards, and come back with me on Wednesday, you guys. We will be getting right back into this astrology. Again, we've got shifting vibes coming up on Wednesday. Could be an out of the ordinary, unusual day. Some interesting or surprising twists and turns coming at us. So I will be back to talk all about it. You guys don't want to miss it. I will see you next time. Have a beautiful introduction to your week. And until then, bye guys.